Hello there you guys, welcome to one of my videos. So Ole Gunnar Solsjaer has challenged our academy players to replicate Mason Greenwood, Brandon Williams and others. Now, since Ole Gunnar Solsjaer taken over the reins at Manchester United in December 2018, he has had a habit of, promoting young homegrown talent. Obviously, he's been really impressed with our under 23s recently. And, the under 23s recently lost to Leicester by 1-0. I think that was on Monday night. But he thinks the future is bright for the likes of Tiedemann Menge. I think he actually made his senior debut for us in the Europa League. Hannibal Mejbrai, if I might have pronounced his surname wrong. And James Garner, he believes his future is bright. But like I've said to you, we have got a lot of good young players coming through at Manchester United. We've obviously, brought more academy players in, which is also very good news. So that is the breaking news on that. But obviously we've seen quite a few, players come through the ranks at Manchester United. Rashford came through the ranks. He's been a United player since the age of 7 and he's been in our senior squad since 2016. And since then has become an integral part of our team. Tom Way, he's been part of the club for several years. He came up the ranks at Man United. Not so long ago, he signed a 5-year deal with a football club. Jesse Lingard, he's been part of the club for several years. He came up the ranks at Man United. Obviously, he's one of the players that we're looking to get rid of in this summer transfer window. But I've got to say, in regards to Mason Greenwood, I think he's a foreseeable future for Man United. Obviously, last season was his first full season in the senior squad. Obviously, a lot of his appearances last season came from the bench, but towards the end of last season, Mason Greenwood got a lot of starts. He's had a few, issues recently. I think Solskjaer said he's set to hold private talks with Greenwood. We recently give Mason Greenwood the number 11. He's going to become the 4th Manchester United player to wear the number 11. And Brandon Williams, last season was his first full season in the senior squad, and I was very impressed with him. Made his senior debut in the EFL Cup against Rochdale and made his first league start against Brighton. Williams not so long ago signed a 4-year contract with Manchester United. And we recently gave him the number 33 shirt, and I think he's going to become the first Man United player to wear the number 33 since Paddy McNair. We've obviously loaned a few young players out, don't forget. We loaned Tahith Chong out to Werder Bremen a few weeks ago, obviously so he can get regular first team football. We recently loaned Dylan Levitt out, he went to Charlton. I think we've loaned Joe Pereira out again for another season. And there was also talks of James Garner being loaned out. Angel Gomez, he was a young and he left the football club permanently because obviously he wasn't getting enough opportunities at Manchester United. So that's the news on this anyway. Now, the news regarding Sergio Reguilon. I give you the news regarding him on my last video. Sergio Reguilon has made his decision. He wants to join Manchester United, and according to Fabrizio Romano and reports from Spain, they've said that Sergio Reguilon is on the verge of completing a move to Manchester United. I heard that we're going to submit around the £27 million bid. Real Madrid have said that they want around £27 million. They want to insert a buyback clause in any deal, but Manchester United don't want a buyback clause included in the deal. So this has been the stumbling block recently of Reguilon's, transfer to Manchester United. But negotiations are now advanced. So it looks like Reguilon is going to be our second signing in this summer transfer window. Reguilon is predominantly a left back, and Manchester United are in search for a left back. Because we have got two predominant left backs in the team at the moment, and that's obviously Luke Shaw. He's our first choice left back, but obviously my element of concern about him is injury prone. And obviously, Brandon Williams, he's our backup left back. But it did recently say that Reguilon had actually rejected a move to Manchester United because he wants to make a return to Sevilla, because he was out on loan with Sevilla last season. I think he played around 38 games in all competitions. He also had a few loan spells with the Logrones. But Reguilon's been at Real Madrid for several years. He has been there since 2005. So I think he's been at Real Madrid now in total for 20 years. Been their senior squad since 2018. Still got a contract with Madrid till 2023. But obviously he can't get in Real Madrid's team anyway, because Zinedine Zidane prefers Ferland, Mendy and Marcelo ahead of Reguilon. But I'd love him to come to Manchester United. Don't forget, recently Tottenham have been in for him. And it could be just hours away before Reguilon to Manchester United is actually completed. Alex Telles from Porto, he's obviously been another left back on our agenda. You already know the news on Jadon Sancho. Like I said, Manchester United have a Jadon Sancho problem, because we were saying that we want to sign Jadon Sancho by the time we play Crystal Palace. Obviously, there's still time for that, because we don't play Crystal Palace until Saturday. And, Borussia Dortmund won around 108 million for Sancho, and they do remain ruthless over their valuation. And I said Jadon Sancho's transfer to Manchester United won't happen unless Dortmund reduce their asking price, but Dortmund aren't going to reduce their asking price. So reflects on that. We are going to walk away now from the Jadon Sancho deal. But we are now concerned that we will face competition for Jadon Sancho's signature next year if we don't sign him in this summer transfer window, because I think next year he'll be subjected to more transfer speculation. Maybe Madrid will go in for him, maybe Barcelona will go in for him, and maybe Liverpool will go in for him. At one point Liverpool were actually in for Sancho. At one point even Chelsea were in for him. Now, Dortmund did recently win in the German Cup by 5-0, and Sancho had scored in that game. Now, Fabrizio Romano did recently say, though, that the personal terms, the agent fees, and a contract worth 250 grand a week had been agreed. And it said we had a breakthrough in negotiations to sign Sancho. I think Sancho is an exceptional player, but I just don't think he's worth what Dortmund are demanding. I think he's probably worth from between 70 to 80 million pounds. Now, it did say last month that Sancho had agreed personal terms with Man United, and it said he was set to sign a 5-year deal with the football club. But just after that got reported out, it said that talks had broken down due to Borussia Dortmund's asking price. But I don't think he's going to come in this summer transfer window, and this is the main explanation why we are now looking at more alternatives to Sancho. Obviously, we're looking at Bale, we're looking at Douglas Costa, we're looking at João Felix from Atletico Madrid. Don't forget Lucien Favre, the Borussia Dortmund boss. He recently said that Sancho will stay at Dortmund. Sebastian Kell, their sporting director, said that Sancho will be playing at Dortmund this season. And Michael Zorg said last month that Sancho is staying at Dortmund and the decision is final. But it said a few weeks ago that we're going to abandon our chase for Sancho until next summer. But it also mentioned that we're not giving up on the signing of the player unless he publicly says that he wants to stay at Borussia Dortmund. Dortmund said to us last month, didn't they, that we had until the 10th of August to sign him. We missed out on that deadline. So Obviously, Sancho decided to go out on pre-season. We know that Solskjaer has held several talks with Sancho, and Sancho's reportedly told him that he wants to play for the football club. And Solskjaer's been very infuriated over the Jadon Sancho deal because obviously it's been a long-running transfer saga, and he's urged Ed Woodward to go out and sign Sancho. But like I said, if we was willing to meet Dortmund's asking price, then Sancho would be our most expensive signing, and he would be the most expensive English player in history. And 250 grand a week, that would make him the third highest paid player at the football club. But he's our number one priority target is Sancho, and we've obviously not been in for him for like the last 3 years. So you know the news on that. By the way, Jack Grealish has just recently signed a 5-year deal with Aston Villa. So Grealish will now not be coming to Manchester United because he's been on our agenda for quite some time. You know, it's around 3 weeks or just under 3 weeks now until the summer transfer window shuts. And so far, Manchester United have only made one signing, and that was Donny van de Beek from Ajax. And Solskjaer has said he wants to make 3 more signings after Donny van de Beek. Because you can see that Solskjaer's trying to change the culture of the club, and obviously, you know, he's trying to improve the squad. You know, we can't only focus on the incomings in this summer transfer window. You know, we've also got to focus on the outgoings as well, because we are struggling to offload our fringe players. Because quite frankly, these still deadwood at the football club. You know, we're looking to obviously get rid of Jesse Lingard. We're looking to get rid of Andres Pereira. You know, Smalling, Rojo, Jones, Delors, Romero. We're all looking to get rid of them players. Because if we sell players in this summer transfer window, we'll generate money and it will help us with our rebuilding process. And the element of concern that there's teams around us that are recruiting very, very well. You know, you've obviously got Chelsea. By far, they've done the best business so far. They've brought players like Ziyech in. They brought him in February. You know, they brought Timo Werner in. They brought Ben Chilwell in, Kai Havertz, Thiago Silva, Milan Sarr. They recently brought Mendy in. Now they're trying to get Rice in. Chelsea's priority is obviously to get a goalkeeper to replace Kepa Arrizabalaga. You know, Liverpool, they recently signed to Sikmas. That's the only signing they've made so far. You know, they're trying to get Thiago Alcantara. You know, City, they've signed Nathan Ake and Ferran Torres. Tottenham, they've made some good signings so far. They got Holberg. They got Joe Hart. They got Doherty, and I think they got Kyle Walker-Phillips as well. Everton, they've made some good signings. I think James Rodriguez is a very, very good signing for him. I think Newcastle recently signed Callum Wilson. Arsenal, they've made some signings. They got Gabriel Magalhaes and Willian on A3. So that is also my element of concern. But I think Solskjaer's totally blameless, you know, in all of this. I think Solskjaer is definitely progressing as Manchester United manager, because he's publicly admitted that Manchester United have got to spend money in this summer transfer window if we are to compete with the likes of City and Liverpool and probably perhaps now Chelsea. You know, Woodward said quite a few times that, you know, he's determined to back Solskjaer in this summer transfer window. The Glazers have said a few times that they're determined to back Solskjaer. But, you know, Solskjaer recently revealed that he has been frustrated with the board. Obviously, reflects on the lack of transfer business so far in this summer transfer window. And we've been critical of the board for several years anyway. You know, reflects on how poor our recruitment policy's been. We've obviously overpaid for players. You know, we've made mistakes in the last 7 years. Obviously, the managers that we've had since Ferguson, quite frankly, have not been backed enough. But I feel as though Solskjaer does deserve more backing. Obviously, with the upturn in form, because at the first part of last season, we enjoyed our worst start ever to a Premier League season. At that point, Solskjaer was very close to getting sacked as Man United manager. And obviously, you know, there was talks of Mauricio Pochettino coming in. There was also talks of Massimiliano Allegri coming in. But since then, we've seen an upturn in form because we haven't lost in the league since January. So we are unbeaten in our last 14 league games. We went on a 19-game unbeaten run in all competitions until Chelsea had beaten us in the FA Cup semi-final. Definitely our recruitment has improved under Solskjaer. Solskjaer's got rid of a lot of the deadwood since he got recommended into Man United. So there's definitely no positives to take. But, Woodward has been at the football club since 2012 and the Glazers have been at the football club since 2005. But we've had a lot of negativity, throughout the course of this summer. We obviously had the injury with Brandon Williams. And Wan-Bissaka, don't forget, had to quarantine for 14 days because he went to Dubai quite a few weeks ago. Harry Maguire was arrested last month in Greece and obviously, went to court. So reflects on that, Harry Maguire was recently given extra time off. Solskjaer's made his decision on Harry Maguire. He's going to remain Manchester United captain this season. Obviously, Harry Maguire is the most expensive defender in the world and the second most expensive sign at the club because we got him in a deal worth £80 million from Leicester last summer. Rashford, not so long ago, had an ankle injury. Pogba, quite a few weeks ago, tested positive for coronavirus, but obviously now he's recovered from coronavirus, which is very, very good. So we had a lot of negative news up until us signing Van der Beek, and there's more obviously positive news now that we're on the verge of signing Sergio Reguilon. But like I said to you on my recent video, this season is the big test for Solskjaer because this season is his second full season at the football club. And obviously, this season we've got to see improvements, and it's very imperative that we do enjoy a good season. Obviously, we're not expected to win the title this season because obviously, I think we need at least 4 or 5 signings if we are to win the title this season. Obviously, we're not going to make 4 or 5 signings and that. There's some Manchester United fans that don't think Solskjaer's even good enough to win the title with Man United because, let's be honest, he hasn't got a fantastic pedigree behind him. Man United is the 3rd club in his managerial career. He's only won a few Norwegian titles when he was at Molde. Obviously was very, very poor at Cardiff, didn't win out in terms of silverware at Cardiff. The main explanation he got sacked from Cardiff is because he ended up getting Cardiff relegated. I think when he managed a Man United reserve team, when he watched from this team this day and age go and develop, I think he won a few trophies. But reflecting how long Solskjaer's been with us now, he has gained managerial experience. He has been at the football club over a year and a half. But I said, if we are to challenge for the title this season, we need to make at least a couple of more signings before this window shuts. Because I want us to challenge for the league this season because we haven't won the Premier League since 2013. We haven't mounted any title challenge up in the last 7 years, and that just indicates how inconsistent we have been. In the last 7 years, we've had different managers with different philosophies. We sacked Moyes, we sacked Van Gaal, we sacked Mourinho. Obviously, we spent close to the £1 billion range on players and we've recruited over 30 odd players in since the Sir Alex Ferguson era. So Solskjaer's our 4th permanent manager since the Ferguson era. But I'm hoping as well this season that Manchester United can win some silverware because we've not yet won out in terms of silverware under Solskjaer, have we? Last season we weren't so bad. Solskjaer did exceed most of his expectations. Obviously got us qualification for the Champions League. Also, we finished 3rd and we also progressed to 3 semi-finals. The only expectation he didn't exceed last season was obviously winning a trophy. But if things are to go wrong this season, then maybe Solskjaer could be sacked as Man United manager. If things are to go right this season, then more Man United fans will be convinced he's the right manager and he's the foreseeable future and could even possibly extend his contract. I think as it stands at the moment, Solskjaer's just got under 2 years left on his current contract. But I always said he needs another season because it is a transition period at Man United and it's been a transition period for a while. Like I said, when Solsjaer came into the club, he was inheriting a squad that was worth 700 odd million pounds. This is obviously before he made any signings. And he's inheriting a lot of the players that Jose Mourinho brought in. You know, there's still a lot of players here from the Mourinho era. You know, Mourinho obviously brought Fred in. He brought Delo in. He brought Lee Grant in. He brought Lindelof in. He brought Bay in. He brought Pogba in. He brought Mkhitaryan in. He brought Ibrahimovic in. He brought Sanchez in. He brought Lukaku in. So yeah, you know, these are all the players that Jose Mourinho had brought into the football club. Like I said, you know, Louis van Gaal, he brought around 16 players into the club. A lot of the players Van Gaal brought in are no longer at Man United though. But Van Gaal brought the likes of Schneiderlin in, Sebastian Schweinsteiger, Di Maria, Falcao, Daley Blind, Rojo, Darmian, Martial and Shaw. They're still here. He brought Romero in. He's still here. Brought Victor Valdez in. You know, he brought Di Maria in, like I mentioned, Memphis Depay. So they're all the players that Van Gaal brought in. And Moyes brought 2 players in. He brought, obviously, Marion Fellaini and Juan Mata in. And there's still a few players here from the Sir Alex Ferguson era. I think the only players that are here now from the Ferguson era at this moment in time is De Gea, Phil Jones and Chris Smalling. So Solskjaer needs time to build the next great Manchester United team. But yeah, big game against Crystal Palace on Saturday. First game of the Premier League season. Preview will be coming up probably on Thursday. It probably will be Thursday, the preview. Manchester United should win this game. You know, Palace had a good start to the season by beating Southampton recently by 1-0. The fixture against Crystal Palace at Old Trafford last season was 2-1 to Palace. That was our first defeat to Crystal Palace at Old Trafford since 1989, but we did beat them at Selhurst Park by 2-0 towards the end of last season. So we've got a pretty good record against Crystal Palace, to be quite honest with you. I think last season Crystal Palace actually finished 14th. I think Crystal Palace have got up to 7 injuries, I heard. I heard that they've got, I can't remember all of them. I heard, have they got Sacco out? They've got Patrick Van Aanholt out. Christian Benteke, he's another one that's out. I think one of their players has got the virus. Yeah, I can't remember all of them, but I just know that they've got up to 7 injuries. And obviously Roy Hodgson is their current manager, and I think Roy Hodgson's managed around 16 clubs now as you know, in his managerial career. I think he's in his 70s now and he's still managing, surprisingly, is Roy Hodgson. But yeah, I am really, really looking forward to the game. We should go with our strongest 11. That's if we have got a fully fit squad. Shaw's just come back from injury, don't forget. Pogba's just recovered from the virus. Rashford's obviously now back from his ankle injury. Tuanzebe obviously knows recently been injured. But yeah, but there's some Manchester United fans, including me, that don't think Solskjaer is prepared for the new season. Solskjaer has got a goalkeeping decision to make. You know, what's he going to do? Is he going to put Dean Henderson as number 1 this season? Or is he going to stick with David De Gea as number 1? Personally speaking, I'd put Dean Henderson as number 1 because I think now Dean Henderson is reliable enough to become our number 1 goalkeeper, because Dean Henderson has now got that experience behind him because he recently endured 2 successful loans with Sheffield United. And he was Sheffield United's player of the season. And Dean Henderson's been part of the club for several years. He's been with us since like the age of 14. And recently he signed a 6-year deal with Man United worth 120 grand a week. But personally speaking, I think we'll stick with David De Gea as number 1. You know, this season is going to be David De Gea's 10th season at Manchester United. You know. But yeah. So that's really everything to update you with today, guys. Drop your comments, likes below on the channel. If you do, consider subscribe as always, and take care. God bless. See you all again very, very soon.